Well, my friends, it's another global transmission against tyranny. Every day is a blessing. We live on a beautiful planet full of wonderful people. There are so many just dynamic and invigorating things going on. We live on a world full of good and opportunity. And evil and corrupt individuals understand that, and they seek to dominate and control societies. Stuart Rhodes is going to be joining us in the third hour today, constitutional lawyer, to break down the NDAA and the transference constitutionally into this modern despotic state, and the fact that this is all illegitimate and illegal. You can't legalize tyranny. I've explained this many times, but he'll be joining us. We'll also look at the phenomenal situation. I mean, Ron Paul, they gave him like 8% in New Hampshire last time, 4 years ago. They engaged in massive fraud on every front. And there's some evidence of that. We're working on getting Bev Harris on today or tomorrow. But still, a very strong second with the controlled corporate zombie signal media, the zombie control, trance control, enemy control media, and that's what it is. I mean, it's not media. It's not they're biased. They're globalist fronts to create a false spectrum, a projection of false reality that they then trick you to debate within the controlled spectrum of false information and lying by omission and twisting and spinning and outright obfuscation of the truth and lying and a lecherous, larcenous, Luciferian gibber. Now, we're going, again, to be here for the next 3 hours. We're going to go over all of this. And every day I see footage like this, and I most of the time mention it but never get to it. And if you're a radio listener, you go up to Infowars.com. You can watch the footage. It's also at DrudgeReport.com. But bus confrontation caught on video in Bellflower. And the L.A. County Sheriff's deputies get on board. There is a polite woman who the passengers say got on who has apparently special needs. And the woman says, "Oh, aren't you a big shot?" To the cops. So he cold cocks the old, what appears to be mentally retarded woman, knocking her to the ground, and then goes after the guy videotaping. "You are here to pay taxes and take cancer-filled shots and drink fluoride water and watch television and be programmed." And the guy's like, well, give me your ID. I'm going to run you your background, because he's black. He's like, "Well, I'm a veteran of 6 tours. I'm just back. I promise." Yeah, we'll see about that, slave. And, of course, it turned out the guy's who he said he was. But what if you weren't a veteran? Like, do I have my First Amendment if I'm not a veteran? By the way, they have a big study out with high schoolers. Most of them believe there's no First Amendment. And I guess they just love the idea of arresting everyone for their speech. So just giant masses of dumbed-down idiots with police who are drawn from that very same pool, just ready to roundhouse, full power punch a woman. Because she's like, "Aren't you a big shot?" And you're like, "You're not going to put my ego down, lady. I'm going to show you I got the power." I mean, if some poor homeless person says, "Oh, aren't you a big shot?" Even if I was tired, had a headache, whatever it was, I have too much pride in myself to full power punch somebody in the face and then run around and try to take somebody's camera away. But again, you got to ask what type of people like, "Oh, this is a really proud of yourself. You punched a bag lady." Man, let me tell you, you're ready for the UFC now, aren't you? I tell you, I always grew up thinking someday I'll be a real man. I can full power punch a bag lady in the face and knock her down. I'll show her. All right, we've got some really big breaking news, obviously, here today. You know, I told you back in October and then in November that war was already taking place in Iran. And now, if you just type in, "war is already taking place in Iran," you will see hundreds of newspapers and publications just now telling the population this. Kind of like the New York Times 2 weeks ago and again yesterday came out and reported, oh, the government in Fast and Furious is also laundering millions in drug money. No, it's not millions, it's hundreds of billions. Now, again, I'm not tooting our horn. This is all in federal court. The government admits to this, the so-called government. But Stuart Rhodes, constitutional law scholar, former top Ron Paul staffer, will be joining us in the third hour today because he can break down the NDAA and a full-spectrum tyranny and the fact that it's illegitimate. I shot a video last week that's still the featured video on our YouTube channel. Unfortunately, only has 250,000 views or something. It should have about 5 million, but whatever. I can make a joke video and it gets 3 million views, but serious stuff doesn't. I shouldn't complain. The point is that we break down the fact you can't legalize tyranny. And the NDAA is a hoax. And I'm going to explain this again. They had laws that black people weren't humans in this country. And it took people, mainly white Christians, saying, you know what, I don't care if you say that's the law, and I don't care if you hang me for it. I'm going to go help break people off of the property that you say is property, but break them off of the plantation property, and I'm going to try to get them to safe places. And then after a while, a lot of folks said, you know what, you're going to try to kill me? I'll just start carrying guns and shooting back. You know what? You can't legalize tyranny. And it's real simple. I mean, Hitler was the law. And so did you just have to, when they came to get you and your wife and kids and take you away because of what race you were or what political persuasion, did you just go with them? Yeah, most people said, you're the law. And the German soldiers and others at Nuremberg said, well, we were following orders. And some of the prosecutors at Nuremberg said, well, let's let them go. And they said, no, we can't do that. But nowadays, every time I see Amish being arrested for producing their own milk, or people selling eggs or whatever on the side of the street, or they say, I'm just doing my job. Now, what you're doing is helping destroy this country. And now you see the wages of the New World Order. You see that globalism is a curse. You see that it's like the plague. It's not rosy and cute and trendy and what the intellectuals are for. One world is not one world of peace and liberty. It's one world under despotic corporate rule with technocratic autocrats that sit back in their oligarchy and punch buttons and never even look at what they're doing to people, and who have a cosmology and a philosophy of hating their fellow humans and seeing us as a disease to be eradicated, modern transhumanist eugenics. And mark my words, it's all written on the wall. It's all public. The only question is, do you have the will to admit the truth? Because if you look at the facts and admit the truth, there is no choice. You will join liberty. There is no choice because the New World Order isn't inviting you to join them midterm, not long term. You don't have to wait long term now for the stuff to come down. Midterm and short term. You're going to be squeezed. You're going to be run over. You're going to be enslaved. You're going to be humiliated. You're going to die an early death from all the binary weapons and other systems they've put into us. If you don't know what that is, you better look it up. Because this isn't about entertainment. It's not about jokes. It's not about games. It's not about being a big radio host. It's not all about that garbage. This is about the real world, ladies and gentlemen, and facing it head on. It's the only way to stop it. Now, what's amazing is that in the last 5 years, there have been hundreds of assassinations and thousands of killings. Because in some cases, they blow up whole buildings full of people, blow up whole military bases. And Iran doesn't like to look weak, so they're always saying, oh, that bridge just blew up when Ahmadinejad drove across it. Or, oh, this command military base or this internal police base headquarters just blew up. There's a crater at a 15-story building. Nothing's there. The building's blown all over the city. There's a gas main. So Iran won't say it's the U.S. and Israel and England. And our own government won't. You remember last year, the Stuxnet was launched. And I said, you watch the Northcom and the Cyber Command that's already in place, even though they haven't passed the law. They don't care. Laws. They've occupied this country. See, it's our military people are Americans and love America, but they're under mind control just like everybody else. They don't understand the commanders, the leadership, the system above them. They work for the New World Order, but because they're wearing an American flag on their arm, notice you see more and more American flags everywhere, like people trying to say, I'm in with the police state. I'm in with the system. I go along with the war. That's what it symbolizes now. With most of the people I've talked to have American flags all over their cars. It's like, why do you got to stick it everywhere? Because you know deep down it's gone. It's gone like the year 1957, and it ain't coming back. America is gone. You know, Mancow this morning, I was on a show, he said, Alex, is the U.S. government, is America giving Latin American leaders cancer? And I said, buddy, America doesn't exist anymore. It can always be resurrected. Like the Phoenix, you can always bring it back because it's an idea. Liberty, freedom, Bill of Rights, Constitution, Declaration of Independence. But it's basically gone. And so, of course, you can't ever get it back because people won't admit how far gone it is. Like children, the corporate whore media talk to the public like lobotomized sheep. That's how they see us with their little Fox News Christmas cards to each other, as us as sheep pulling them. I don't want to analyze that more later today in detail because I didn't even properly analyze it. I've looked at those Christmas cards more carefully now. And Fox News put this out publicly. They sent it to their competitors, and they published it. And it's sheep in a sled race, and Fox News is ahead of CBS News, ABC News, and NBC News, saying they're now competing with the networks. And they're sheep pulling them and then looking over the hilltop as spectators are MSNBC and CNN saying you're not even in the sleigh race. You know why? Because in the image they have no sheep. And you notice they aren't really foxes in the image. They're like big foxes. They're more like wolves, giant wolves. Now there's the image. They're telling you everything in that image. This is because, again, criminals and scum and chicken neck control freaks revel in lying to people. Like you see someone being conned or mistreated, you instinctively don't like it because you feel a brotherhood of humanity. Sociopaths and their psycho controllers, the psychos sit atop them, they revel in seeing goodness pulled down. It's a very secure feeling. You like cookies and milk by the fire. They like little kids chained down with electric drills going in them. You know, I mean, you know, they're a different breed of people we face. And until you realize that, and they're trying to turn our psychic atmosphere into their atmosphere with all the shows about how torture's cool and go ahead and torture people's kids, it's cool. This is pure evil. And I said, you watch, they're going to launch, the Stuxnet's been launched, this industrial hacking system that has to be injected directly into the computer systems that aren't networked. But they'll still use that, even though it's a different type of attack, to say we should censor the internet and shut things down, and that somehow a foreign government put out Stuxnet like Russia, China. And sure enough, a month later, they came out and said, yeah, Stuxnet's a foreign power. We need to take your rights away on the internet because of it. And it's admitted the United States and Israel cooked the thing up. Now, Iran, in the last month, has had top generals shot, top scientists car bombed, military bases blown up, and they're giant. The whole base is a crater. And the news says, oh, an ammo dump blew up. Yeah, right when Ahmadinejad was supposed to arrive, he arrived late. He knows how to move his schedule around. But the top missile general, he did die. Well, now there's another one. And the New York Times is making fun of people that say Israel is involved. I mean, folks, do people read these mainstream newspapers to feel like morons and to know you're being laughed at and talked down to? It's like that Dana Bash on the news saying, oh, I'm worried about him being elected, ruining it for the other Republican person, and so are other Republicans. What does that even mean? Ron Paul's going to ruin Iowa. He's going to ruin this. He's going to ruin it for the Republican nominee. This talking point that he'll make Obama win. On CNN, they just dispense with any fair objectivism because they're scared to death. They're running scared. Oh, my gosh, the sheep aren't acting like sheep anymore. So I told you In the last 4 or 5 months, they've escalated, blowing stuff up almost every day. Now, if that isn't a war, I don't know what is.